there. It's so good to see you. Welcome back to 60. Now what?
Hey, welcome. Hey, Ann, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. Things down here in Florida are steamy and hot. It's July. How's New York?
Same, same. Same, very good. Just all the same, all the same.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
I'm
I
having a
love
good
that.
time. I think I'm having a real good time this summer, though. This
Good,
summer's
good,
good. Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, summer's great. Yeah, it makes me want to sing
Mhm.
that song Summertime, but I wouldn't do that to everybody. So, like in my head though,
Well,
I'm
which
having a
one?
show.
Which summertime? Because I would sing the Will Smith version.
Yeah,
I'll sing the Will
exactly.
Smith version.
That's exactly what I'm singing. Yeah, I mean, I got it. When I get off this
Yes, I
call, I'm
would
gonna
sing that
crank
one.
that. Yeah, I love that. Love
There's
that.
there's a couple of versions floating around, but I would
Yeah,
sing
that's
that one.
funny. Yeah, I think if we started singing and dancing, we'd probably lose all our listeners. So we'll save that.
Nah, they love us. Nah, we can sing. We can
Oh
sing.
man.
Listen, we all encompassing. Let me just
Yeah,
say,
right,
we're
right,
all encompassing.
exactly. We are
Hmm.
who we are, where we are, loving summer.
Yeah,
Loving
absolutely.
summer. But yeah, so we were talking about, episodes and, some of the things that we hear a lot of and what's a really hot topic
Hmm.
and things to address. And, talking about it's not that it's too late, you're just scared or you've got a soundtrack going on. Life at 60 is
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah. Hmm. And I
right?
don't
So
think
what
we
are your
realize it's the best part.
Oh my gosh. I
We
mean,
don't believe that.
nobody could have ever told me
Yeah.
that when I was 30 that said, "Hey,
No.
buckle
Right.
up, kid. You're on your
Exactly.
way to your
Exactly.
60s. Those are the best years." I'd have been like, "You
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
nuts." And I'll be hanging it up at 60. So not the truth.
Yeah. Right.
So not the
Yeah, and
truth.
that's an invisible contract that we have, It's
Yes.
invisible and we just
I
agree
love
to it
that.
and we don't even realize that our nervous system, our ideals, our vision for ourselves have lined up with that. Because
Yeah.
we hear it so much from society. Oh, when you get 62, you can file for Social Security benefits. Oh, when you get in your 60s, jobs start laying you off. They want somebody younger. Yeah. So
Isn't
it's
that
like age.
crazy? Because who wrote those rules?
It's crazy. It's
It
crazy.
is.
It's
It is.
crazy.
I love that way. Something you just said, like really, I really am so intrigued. Like, talk about the invisible contract, because that is a really cool topic.
Oh, that is. We'll just stay with what we're talking about today: the woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? And we don't
Hmm.
realize that society puts these things out, and we believe them, right? We just
Hmm.
it's just subconscious. We take it on like a jacket, and we work 40 hours a week, maybe more, to get to that retirement age that we're going to get a pension. Right?
Right.
All
Right.
these amazing words that society puts out, but we agree to them because we think they've been passed down for years and years and years, that they're these great things. But the invisibleness of it is that it not only invades your thought pattern, but it invades your nervous system. So you have no recourse but to abide by it because you don't even know you're
Yeah.
doing it. It's almost like simultaneous, like it's like you walking, same thing, you agree. So a lot of
Right.
times those invisible things are what it could, shoulda, but in reality, you already have done that. So I was reading something about this black woman who I think it was in 1946. She loved to sew and she was a fashionista. I'm always reading stuff about fashion because I'm
Hmm.
always looking for new fashion. And
Yeah.
she was the first black woman to um, design the dress for one of the presidents, and she died at 98, still doing the same thing. She had so
Wow.
many accomplishments in the middle, but that stuck out to me that she was 98 and had was doing this still. And she when she passed away, she was dressed like she
Oh,
made everything. She was amazing, and it made me
wow.
think like, wow, it's not over. We
Yeah.
talk about another important piece for us women is menopause. They think
Yeah.
that would tell the stories I've heard prior to menopause. I'm talking about when I was 12, didn't even have my period yet.
Yeah.
I heard bad
Yeah.
things. Oh, people having nervous breakdowns, sweating and gaining all this weight. We hear all these stories,
Yeah.
but they don't talk about the magnificence of the spiritual downloads, the
Mm.
chemical changes that happen that only you can get at this age.
Oh, yeah,
And
I
we're
love
not
that.
embracing that. So when you don't embrace it, it kind of, if things are, you're floating this way, right? When you embrace something, but when you don't, you funnel down.
I
So
love
that's
that.
where you get, right. That's where you get the woulda, coulda, shouldas, and all the fears.
That is so rich.
Yeah, you get those, and
Yeah.
that's where the invisibleness comes from. We don't realize it's happening, but we've agreed
Right.
to it. Yeah, we've agreed to
You
it.
know, it's funny. It's funny that you say that and that you touch on that because I recently learned in the past couple of years that, like you're just talking about, it's
Mhm.
62. Like, who said that was a rule? Who said 65 you retire? Because what we tell ourselves subconsciously, we begin to roll downhill. We begin
Right.
to go, well, it's
That is
almost
correct.
over. It's almost
Exactly.
over.
It's
And
all
it's so
over.
it's so funny because those
Yes.
are somebody else's rules. I know
Yeah.
that for
They're
me,
not
my
yours.
life plan, I never sat down and said, at the age of this, I'm going to be done working. If
Yeah.
I did
Right.
do that, it meant I hated what I was doing.
Exactly. Exactly. And let me just tell you this. We don't. Like say so the way the system is set up, sometimes you have to go back to work because you're not making enough.
Yes,
So what you're saying is not reality.
right,
Because facts are, if I have to get back out there and make this an extra amount because I got to make it make sense,
right,
I'm working. I'm going
right.
back out there. So that's not even making sense. It's just
No,
so invisible. We don't even realize it's happening. We don't even
right.
realize that force is our nervous system is saying, yeah, we can't do it. I'm retired. People say that, like, I'm retired.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at you, like, aren't you at work today? Like, it doesn't make
Yeah,
any
that's true.
sense.
Oh, that's so funny you say that. Yeah, that's true. I guess
It
that's
doesn't make
really,
any sense.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
It
exactly.
doesn't make any sense. Right.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yes.
It's funny too because I run into a lot of folks in my real estate world that
Yeah.
have the mentality, like they'll come to me and they'll say, "Hey, I've got this really big house and I'm, 65 years old right now and I don't want to take care of it. The kids don't visit and I want
Hmm.
to downsize and I
Yeah.
want to, sell the house." And I said, "Well, what do you want to do then?" And they say, "Well, I guess I'll buy a smaller one." And I go, "Well, what is it about the smaller one that's important to you?" And
Yeah.
they don't have an answer. They just feel like, well, isn't
Yeah.
that what I'm supposed to do? But it's like, wait a
It's
minute, better
invisible.
question.
Right. That's it. That's
What do
it.
you
It's an
want to
invisible agreement.
do? Are
Yes.
you looking
It's
for
an
a
invisible
smaller
agreement.
box?
Yes.
Or maybe there's a passion in there. Maybe you'd like to liquidate that money and go travel.
There you
Go
go.
do the
There you go.
things. It's not too late, whether your
There you
spouse
go.
is, still with you, or maybe you're single,
There you
widow,
go.
divorced, whatever
There
it
you
is.
go.
We
There you
get
go.
caught up in what other people's
There
ideals
you go.
suggest we should do.
Yes. And I had a friend, I have a friend still. She had this beautiful brownstone. She wanted to downgrade, go down to Florida. She's near Orlando.
Mm,
And she does that. And I said, I would get something small where her and her mother and I are talking to her. I'm trying to give her some pointers. She goes down and get a bigger house, bigger than what she had.
mm.
Not as big as, but like 6 bedrooms. And I'm like, who's going to take care of that? You know? And
Wow.
then I have another couple that had a house in Southampton, had no children, and said, "Oh, I'm going to go to this adult community that I get a maid, food service, and I'm going to take this money and I'm going to live out the rest of my time." Because they were 93.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
They were 93. The both of them. They were this eclectic, artistic couple. They both were in the arts.
Wow.
And so I was complimenting her glasses, and I knew that she was eclectic. I just knew it. I was like, oh, nobody gets these glasses on accident. This is artists making it. I just had to talk to them. And she
Love
goes,
it.
oh, no, I'm 93, my husband's 95. And we had this big house in Southampton. They have maid service. They get the food made for them. They go where they want to go. They get a car to take them. Live out the best time of your life. She goes, we've had the best. Now we're just
Yeah.
going to have to live, pass in our luxury. This is what she's
Right.
telling me. I was like, new outlook on life. What piece of jewel to give me. And here's
Right.
my friend still now in Florida struggling with this gigantic house, right?
Yeah.
And no one to help her. Now her kids are growing up and she's got this 6-bedroom house. I said, there will never, I said, you keep agreeing to this. And what
Yeah.
happens, it becomes a pattern. And if we really, people like Ann and I help you see that, because it
Right.
is a pattern. You just don't, this doesn't happen just like overnight. It's something that you've been doing for years and you don't know why
Right.
you're doing it. Right?
Right, right, exactly. Or we're going by other people's assumptions of
Right.
what we should be
Exactly.
doing. You know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
can't tell you how many times I'll meet people and like a seat mate on the plane, or I'll meet somebody that I'm talking to, and
Right.
and they'll say to me, I want someone to travel with.
Right.
And I ask them why.
Right.
What's
Right.
the fear of hanging out with you?
Right.
Or the things that people will say that they want to
Right.
do. They enjoy sewing,
Right.
they enjoy making things, they enjoy
Right.
creating beautiful things for others, but they
Right.
feel like it doesn't make sense for them to
Mhm.
continue to do it. Maybe they
Right.
don't need the money, but not all things are done for money.
Exactly. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you going and showing a younger person, maybe
Yeah,
going to a, not a daycare center, maybe a camp and offering your
right.
service,
Oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
and saying, teach kids how to sew. That
Hmm.
things that are going, like I go into to camps and I go into nonprofit organizations, teach kids how to write because
Yeah, I love
writing
that.
is going away. I
Yes.
teach them how to write poetry because that's going away. So I go in and teach them that, and they have the world of fun. It's like, who knew? But
So
you have
powerful.
the ability to share with the next generation that's coming up. And that's the
Yeah.
beauty of us being books. We're
Yeah.
books. We're
Right.
books.
Right. I think that's such a beautiful gift that you
Yeah.
give, because it's not just about writing, and that's why we provide
Mm-mm.
these worksheets after we do,
Yeah.
an episode, because there's prompts that are really important. And by teaching young
Yeah.
people to write, and by us getting back into the craft of writing, it's our soul
Yeah.
coming out. It's parts of us that we wouldn't
Exactly.
touch on if we didn't ask those questions or
Right.
pick up that pen and paper,
Right.
I think that
Right.
when people assume that their best years are behind them, that's such a
Hmm.
tragedy. It's such
Yeah.
a tragedy. There's so many things that
Well, you know what our
fall
teacher
here.
said? When you assume something, you make a ass out of
Ass
you
out of,
and me.
ass
So
out of
don't
me.
assume.
Yeah, I know it. That's, those
Huh?
the energy blocks that we talk about, the assumptions and the limited beliefs, but
Yes.
like, what is something that if you knew
Hmm.
that you were capable of doing whatever it was that your heart wanted to do at this moment,
Yeah.
what would it be? And does
Hmm.
age have any definition in it? You know?
I'm gonna say no. I don't think age has anything to do with it. I think it's
Mm-mm.
something again that we've agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
We've agreed to, and coaches like Ann and I are here to really just tell you, stop it.
Yeah.
It's a simple stop it.
Right.
Because no one's getting in your way but you. So
Right.
when you're saying, "Oh, I can't do that," and I find a lot of people who say that to you really tell you or telling you they can, but they want validation that they can.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they want validation, and I say, "Oh, sure you can. You just got to put your mind to it." And I make a
Right.
statement and leave it there. I don't go back and forth because we're really, when you inspire somebody, inspiring is like that match, that is that sulfur that is on that match. You touch that, the material, and I don't know, I think it might be wood, right? We're wood, right? That,
Sure.
yeah. So we're the wood that when that material hits it, we strike and it starts burning. So even if
Yeah.
it's smoldering, it's still burning. So there's,
Right.
once it clicks, because you can't unlearn what you hear,
Right.
and you can't. You can. It
Yeah.
goes into a memory bank and a data space that just sits there and waits for you to use it. So
Hmm.
you can't unlearn that, and we're here to tell you that it's a lot of it is you getting in your own way.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of
Oh,
that's what's happening, is you getting in your own way with what I would have, could have, or should have done.
yeah.
And it's really, I can.
Right, right. Yeah, changing that soundtrack, right? When somebody says I
Hmm.
can't, it's like, well, where's the proof? Do you have proof of that?
Right,
Is there
right,
really any proof? And more
right,
likely than not, there's not. The
right. There's not.
fear
Right.
is real though. A lot of
Yeah.
folks have the
Fear.
fear and they fear
Right.
ultimately, what will people say? What will
Right.
people think? And I
Yeah.
challenge this, right? I've done this to myself a
Hmm.
number of times where I'll catch myself going, yeah, I don't know. And I go, all right, kid, you're on your deathbed. Who gives
Hmm.
a rat's ass?
Right. Exactly.
It isn't me. I'm not
Right.
caring that, you know what I mean? What I am going to care about
Right.
are the things I didn't do.
Right.
That's what I'm going to care about.
Right. Right. And I think, taking what you just said, if I was to die today,
Yep,
would I do everything? Would I do? What would I do? What would I
exactly.
do? What would I do?
Exactly. Exactly. There's so many beautiful books written. There was
Hmm.
a woman, well, I wish I could remember her name. I'm going to have to put it in the show notes. I read this book several times, and it's The Five Regrets of the Dying. And it's a woman in the UK that
Wow.
worked in hospice. And, she was working with people, obviously, that were going to pass. And they shared their final moments and thoughts. And
Hmm.
not one of them
Hmm.
ever said, well, I wish I had,
That's right.
they all said, I wish I had given myself a chance. I wish I had tried. I wish I had showed up. Those were the things that they talked
Hmm.
about. It's never too late to start over, to date again, to move, to travel, to have a
Right.
new career. I mean, I started a
Right.
brand new career at 54, knowing zero. It's not, I
Right.
didn't feel too
Me too.
old. I never told myself, I
Me
never had a
too.
seedling of doubt that said you might be too old.
Right.
However, those around me brought the seedling to me. I just shut it down. I
Right.
didn't listen.
Yeah.
But I tell you
Right.
what, they were planting all kinds of trees in my yard telling me I was too
Oh
old.
yeah. Absolutely. 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 And I think, it's too late has a story. A lot of times has a story. And
Yeah,
sometimes when people say that to me, I say, and in my vicarious way, who told you that?
right,
I
right.
was in a taxi with a guy
Yeah.
yesterday, not yesterday, Thursday, and he was taking me to the doctors. And so he said, I'm going to be 77. And I said, it started to come out of my mouth, you look good for 77. But my mind said, what do you know what 77 looks like? That's
Love
one of
it.
those invisible contracts.
Love it.
And I was like, I stopped saying, I said, oh, excuse me, I have no right to say that to you because I don't know what 77 looks like, good or bad. Right.
Love
And
it.
he was started cracking up. I said, but you're working at 77. You're driving without glasses. And he's cracking up. He's like, that's
Wow.
great. He's like, and he's getting inspired and fired up. And he's like, yeah. And I did all these things. And he's starting to remember. You could feel his spirit kind of
Oh.
like perk up, and we're
Mm.
having this conversation. It was one of the best rides I had, in
That.
a cab in a long time. And I was like, but you see, we agree to
Yeah.
these things, right? We agree to these false, and they're just
That's
so false.
special.
And yeah, they're so, the things that we agree to are so false, and we repeat them, right?
Yeah.
But ask yourself, because I know me and Ann ask you, but ask
Yeah.
yourself, who told you that? Who told you
Right.
that?
Right.
And when did you start believing it? When did you start believing it? Because when you
Yeah.
came here, everybody that looked down on you said, "Dag, she's gorgeous," or "He's gorgeous.
Hmm.
Look at the baby." All
Yeah.
beautiful things came from you coming. So shouldn't it be the same way throughout
Yep.
until you go into the next life?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, we show up as the version of us that
Yeah,
we think we are,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
that's
that's
how
only
we
because of
enter
the seedlings
rooms.
you talked about, sis. That's only
Yeah.
because of the seedlings people transplanted in your yard.
Right. Exactly.
You
And
know?
that's where, especially at 60, we get to choose the gardener.
Hmm.
Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like there's certain
Yeah,
people that are not allowed
exactly
to
my
tend to
point.
my garden.
Yes.
You can
I
come look
love
at the
that. I love that.
flowers
We
and I
got to
love
stay
you
the
and I'll
gardener.
invite you in, but don't you be touching any seedlings.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Be careful with
You know,
those.
yes, starting over after 60, um, we have an advantage.
Yeah.
We made mistakes, right? And we survived.
Right.
Fact. You
Right.
know, we've gained wisdom from those things.
Yep.
Um, where other people are willing to pay for what we
Hmm.
know. Fact.
Right.
You know, we don't have to compete.
Right.
Fact.
Right. Right.
Right?
Exactly.
That's it. We don't have to compete with a 25-year-old. There is no competition.
Right.
We succumb to the invisible contract that ageism has a play in it. But when you act like you don't have to compete, you
Yeah.
have something that no one else has.
Right.
Even and no matter if all of us are all in human resources, we all have something individual that neither one of us have. If we were five of us
Right.
standing in line, we're all not the same. We have that experience. We have
Yeah.
that experience was take us far, and
Right.
you mentioned traveling before. We have experience,
Right. There's so
right?
much fear for people though. There's so much fear.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
had,
yeah.
I've got some people in my world that I'm working with that are
Uh-huh.
one woman in particular. She needs to get back into the workforce because of money. So she's 64
Right,
years
right.
old and she finds herself where she's got to go back to work. And her
Hmm.
conversation tends to be pretty negative around it. I'm never going to get a job. All I'm going to get is fast
Right.
food. So her conversation.
Yes.
So I asked her, I said, okay, I want you to be the employer. I want you to be the one that
Right.
decides whether or not you're going to hire you. And I want you to show up talking
Hmm.
like that. Would you hire you?
No,
Versus let's
no.
talk about the things that you're really good at.
Yeah.
What are the things that you're really good at? I want you to make a list of them. And she made a list of the things. And I'm like, one of her, she used to work in HR. She's got
Hmm.
some really good, not necessarily managerial skills, but
Hmm.
connection skills.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, every single employer is lacking connection skills right now.
That's it.
They could
That's
do
it.
better,
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
largely due to the younger workforce. They don't know connection skills. You
No.
can teach them,
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
that was just one of the suggestions that she came up with on her own that was an
Yeah.
asset that she could bring to the table.
Yeah.
So it's the same
Yeah. And
thing
that's what
with
you got to do. Absolutely.
It really is. It's
I
like
love it.
how you
Hmm.
talk up here is everything in
Hmm.
how people perceive you. They
That's right.
feel exactly
Yeah.
what you're saying upstairs.
Yeah.
So when somebody is afraid to travel and they really
Hmm.
want to, there's some groups out there that you can join where you're not completely
Absolutely.
alone if, safety is a concern, but you could start
Hmm.
small. You could go to lunch with
Absolutely.
yourself. Go to lunch with yourself. Go to dinner with yourself. That alone is
That's important.
beautiful. People have a hard
Yes.
time with
That
that.
is important.
It
Going
is.
somewhere alone, even if it's just
Right,
having lunch or dinner with yourself,
right, right, right.
is pivotal. It's pivotal. It's pivotal.
Yeah,
It changes who you are, because if you can't have time with yourself and you can't be alone with yourself, you definitely can't be together with nobody else.
Right, right. I mean, if I'm not
You
comfortable
can't.
hanging out with me, why would I expect you to be?
Right. Right. You
You know
so
what I mean?
you need that for yourself.
Yeah,
And like you said,
right.
a lot of times is health issues. I will
Yes,
tell you,
yes.
my son turned 23 when I was like, okay, I'm going to China. I accepted a job in China. I said, okay, I'm going. He was 23. Everybody was grown. And they were like, you really leaving? I was like, yeah, I'm leaving. And had the job all lined up, taking the flight over. And my daughter's like, she's leaving, because my daughter's the opposite of me. She's a Leo, I'm a Scorpio. Oh, me, mom's going. I'm gonna drop her off. you know, she's like, yeah, I'm dropping her off. Okay. So my son didn't believe me. My other son didn't believe me. My sisters didn't believe me until it was time to go. So when I left, I got settled and everything, and I got there and I look out the window, and in the spring, they have these furry trees with the furry blossoms, and they're kind of beautiful, and they just like it floats in the air, and they're all over the place, right? So I look out
Yeah,
the window and I open the window up. I was like, man, I'm alone, right?
good for
I am
you.
truly alone. If anything happens, I am here for the duration. Okay, it's like
Love it.
I'm here, right? And so I start to cry. I literally start to cry. Then, as I'm crying, I breathe in the air, and I smell these blossoms. They smell like cherries.
Oh,
And I breathe
yeah,
it in. And I said, but I'm going to have the most amazing, amazing time here. And I
yeah,
did. But just taking that step, prior to that, I was taking small cruises by myself, 1 hour
yeah.
cruises away and coming back. But health is
Good.
an issue for most of us. I had
Right.
asthma. Who knew? Right?
Yeah.
But it went away after that year. I tell you that.
Wow, that's
I tell
awesome.
you
I love
that.
that.
But so don't be afraid. There's all kind of things, like this wheelchairs. I wasn't afraid to use a wheelchair. I
Yeah,
wasn't. I was
right.
not afraid. I said I want to go. I wasn't afraid, so I went. So all I'm saying is trust yourself enough to have an amazing opportunity. Don't, there's people like Ann says, there's groups,
Yeah,
there's things you can do locally. If you're
sure.
not willing to walk outside your door and go across the street or go to a diner, you're not really ready to travel.
Good point. Good point.
You're not
Yep,
ready to
that's a great
travel.
point. Exactly. You got to
Hmm.
start somewhere. You got to start
You
somewhere,
do. You have to start
that
somewhere.
it's
That's
never,
right.
never, ever, ever, ever too late. That's somebody else's rule that it was
No.
for sure. I
Yeah.
love our challenge for this week is really, really
Yeah.
awesome. Write down one
Yeah.
thing that you've been postponing because you believed you were too old.
Yeah. And
That's
then
power.
write some steps on how, like 3 or 4 steps on how to start to move forward with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Need
What
some
is something you
steps.
could do differently?
Yeah.
What is something?
Yeah.
And I think that if we use our wisdom, like we're giving it to someone else, we come up with some banging
Yes,
ideas. When it's for
absolutely.
us, we're like,
Yes, like it's
"Eh."
somebody else. I
But
love that one. I love that.
if we
Yes,
pretend
I love
that
that. Yes.
our 20-year-old
Yes.
grandson is asking,
Yes.
I'm kind of afraid because I feel like this,
Yes.
what would your advice be? Because age isn't part of the equation. The age is out of the equation. What would your
Yeah.
advice be? Your
Yeah.
wisdom will prevail.
Yes.
It
That's
will.
true.
It will.
That's true.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
love it.
I hope that this resonates, with somebody.
Mhm.
And we'd love your feedback. Please
Yes.
send us your feedback.
Yeah.
What resonates with you?
Absolutely.
What's on your mind?
Yeah.
Share it.
And listen, stop saying it's too late. Tell the truth. Say I'm scared, because once you tell the truth, you finally do something about it.
Yes.
Just don't say it's too late. Just say I'm scared. And that's fine.
That's awesome.
I
That's
just told you
really
the story. I
awesome.
cried. I was already there. That's
Yep.
it.
That's awesome. That's so true. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
See you in the
And this
next
has been
one.
60. Now what? And
That's right.
maybe the next chapter is going to get started right after this one. But Anne's
Right.
going to give you what the next episode's about.
Ooh, oh, the next episode is going to be amazing. We're really excited about this too, because this, everybody can resonate with this. The regrets that we don't talk about. Heavy.
Yes.
Good. Good topic. Good topic. I'm excited. And we're going to
Yeah.
both share ours.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'll see you in the next one, my friend.
Absolutely. You too. Bye now.
Bye bye.